So the Gemara, so yesterday we mentioned it, so it's very important. The Tosfos already asked the question, if we have a principle of shlichus, of agency, why can't I appoint the person to eat matzah on my behalf, to put on tefillin on my behalf, to sit in the sukkah on my behalf? Factually, you can't. You're not able to. So he said, why not? So he explains that shlichus, the concept of shlichus is that the action is attributed to you. A person goes, marries a woman on your behalf. The act of marriage is attributed to you. A person gives a divorce, it's as if you gave the divorce. It's the action. As if you tithed it. As if you did the act of shechita, you slaughtered the Pesach. But the Torah says when you put on tefillin, tefillin has to be on your hand. It's not the action. You did tefillin. You did matzah. No, you have to eat matzah. That's called mitzvah shebegufa. The concept of shlichus is the action, it's not the doing. If it's only the action that has to be accomplished, but the Torah wants more than an action when it comes to kima mitzvahs. The Torah wants the mitzvah to actually be performed. When it comes to, let's say, what about tzedakah? You appoint an agent to give charity on your behalf. Over there, it's not that you have to give it, that the tzedakah should be given. That the poor man should receive it. So the act of giving the money to the poor man, that is attributed to you. But tefillin means, kshablos ayodecho. The tefillin have to be on your hand. Right? The mitzvah is achilas matzah. Or sitting in the sukkah. Right? That's how he differentiates. Okay. So we had said that by me'ilah, we say yesh lich dvar avera. That's the exception. Because we have a gzera shava, chet mitruma. So let that be the rule. Let's draw from there that we always say yesh lich dvar avera. So Gemara says because no shnik sum bon ke'echad. And if the Torah repeats itself, that tells me that it's the exception to the rule rather than the rule. Because it would be the rule, the Torah wouldn't have to repeat itself. Correct? So Gemara says, Me'ilo hadamoran. Me'ilo, we already stated what it is. Shlichus yad mahi. What is shlichus yad? Literally, the word shlichus means extending your hand. The halach is, if you have a shomachinam, right, we have different types of custodians. You have a shomachinam, you have a shomasocher, and you have a shoel. Shomachinam is a person who agrees to watch something, be the custodian, without payment. Shoma socher, he only agrees because he's paid for a service. Shol means he borrows, a borrower. Shoma chinam, he only has one level of liability, pshia. If it's negligent, gross negligence, he's liable. But let's say he took the basic precautions to protect the item that was given to him, and let's say it should be stolen. What should be lost, he has no liability. What about if you're a paid custodian? Then you have to take greater precautions. So the halacha is chai b'gnei v'aveda. If it's stolen, or because he should have taken certain precautions, that it shouldn't have been lost or it shouldn't have been stolen. What if he's a shoel, he's a borrower? He's chai b'onsid. He's like an owner. If an owner loses, his object is destroyed beyond his control. Who takes the loss? The owner takes the loss. Doesn't make so because a borrower has all the benefits of an owner without the cost factor. Therefore, he assumes all the liability of an owner. Okay, what's the halacha we discussed? A person steals something, a ganov, gazlan, a ganov, right? What's the halacha? After he steals it, the object is struck by lightning. What's the right? So the halacha is he's chai b'onsin. A thief is liable; he has unlimited liability. Unlimited. Okay, he's chai b'onsin. But the Torah says so. Right. If a person assumes the classification of a thief, he's chai b'onsin. Even something beyond his irresponsibility, he's liable. A person steals a car, parks a car on the street. Now the building collapses, destroys the car. The thief is fully liable for the cost of that car. Okay, chai b'onsin, because he's a ganov. So now, what about a person who's a shomer? And then he goes, he has a barrel of wine, and he wants to, and he has no permission to use it. And he wants to retrieve some chicks from his scoop. So he takes the barrel of wine, rolls it over, stands on the barrel, and then he takes, and now the barrel breaks, bursts. Unrelated because he stood on it. It's not because he put pressure on the barrel, that's where it burst. He has full liability. Why? Because since he had no permission to use the barrel, that's called shlichus yad. He extended his hand to use that if he moved the barrel for the barrel's Let's say it was in an area where there was something dripping on the barrel. They moved it to another location. That's something else, because there he did it to be a responsible custodian. But if he did it for his own sake, then he's what? Then he's considered a ganav, and he's what? He is chai bonsin. What about he thought about it? Machshava, or he said, I will take that barrel and use it, and before he had a chance to do it, the barrel bursts. So we'll see, it's a machlis b'sham b'yisilo. B'yisilo says you only become a shaleach yad, as it says, you have to extend your hand, you have to do an action. If you don't do an action, no liability. Beishamai says no, because it's al kod var pesha. Even if you say what you're going to do, even though you didn't do it yet, you already have the liability from that moment going forward. That's Gzeres HaKosov by Shomer. Okay? That's called al kod var pesha. If any degree of irresponsibility or improper intent, the Torah already holds you accountable if something should happen. Not even stealing. I'm going to drive it. I have to go to the store. The owner will not mind, and I'll bring it back. And then something happens in the interim before he has a chance. No, something has to happen. I mean, it's destroyed the car now. We're talking about own sin. We're talking about liability. Now the car's destroyed, but he never drove the car. He only made a statement, I will. According to Beis Shammai, full liability. Beis Hillel says, no, you have to get in that car and drive the car. What? But it's based on psukim. It's based on, we'll see in a moment, the psukim. Let's see. Shlichus Yamai, the Tanya, al kol dvar pesha. Any degree of what? Of pesha, of sin, of wrongdoing. The thought, there's a shayla what thought means. The thought means even you think it. Now, what's the halacha if a kohen, when he brings a korban, he has in mind chutz l'zman or chutz l'makomo. He's going to sprinkle the blood not in its proper time, not in its proper location, or he's going to eat it. So the Torah says it's pigul. Why? Because it says lo yechoshev. So there's a machlokas, right? So there's a machlokas of Rashi and Tosas, number of locations. What does lo yechoshev means? He should not think, just thinking, even if he doesn't verbalize it, or he actually has to verbalize it by pigul. He has to say, I will sprinkle the blood, I'm slaughtering with the mind, I will sprinkle not its proper time or proper location. But just thinking it without verbalizing it means nothing. So why is it called lo yichoshev? Relative to doing an action, that's called lo yichoshev. Okay? Other Rishonim say no. You have even thinking alone. So it's the same question over here. Take a look at Rashi. Rashi, it seems to be holds even machshava. Rashi l'chayv ala machshava. Rashi says o al hadibur. For machshava, or said according to Rashi, it seems to be even for thought alone. Yeah. So over here, you take a look in the Bach, in the margin, the Bach. Near Be'inai, Uba Mitzia, so Daf Mem Gim Pirush Rashi, Dafka Omar. That you're only liable for, even Beis Shammai, he had to verbalize it. Thinking it alone is not enough. And it really, it's like what Moshe is asking, it's difficult. If you chayv machshav, you have to tell me Allah Dibor, after he said it, he definitely thought it. You're liable for thinking and even saying it. If he would say saying it and even thinking is one thing. But you say thinking and then saying it. I mean, Rashi over here is different. But Rashi over there in Bava Metzia says, oh no. You have to actually verbalize it. If you don't verbalize it, it means nothing. Even Beis Shammai would agree he's not considered a Shaleach Yad. That's Beis Shammai. Okay? Now, Beis Hillel, Omrim, no, Einu Chayv, Achi Yishlach Bo Yodo. You actually have to do an action. The person has to do an action to take the object, which he has no right to. Shinemar, Im Lo Sholach Yodo B'mlech Sreyeyu. He did not extend his hand in his friend's object. Omer Beis Shammai Beis Hillel, so Beis Shammai says to Beis Hillel, Lo Nemar Kol Dvar Pesha. Why do you interpret Sholach means he has to do an action, but it says Al Kol Dvar Pesha, any degree of what? Of wrongdoing, which indicates seemingly even saying it. Omer Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai, Halo Nemar, Im O Shalach Yodom Lechsreyu. But it says he has to extend his hand. He has to do an action. So, wait. So I'm like, no, same posuk. It says together, same posuk. Amru Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel, Im Kein Al Kad V'Apeshel Normally. Okay, so good. You tell me that's the primary part of the pasuk. You have to do an action, but how do you explain the words? Al Kad V'Apesh seems to be even less than that. So he says, Shioch Ein Li Elohu. That's only he as the custodian. If he himself does the action. Omar la'avdul l'shluchim minayin. What about if he tells his slave or his agent, take the barrel, put it on the window or whatever it is. Right? And then subsequently it should break. Even though the custodian himself did not do it, he appointed a shliach or his eved, he has the same liability. So what do we say? That shliach dvar aveira. The mishaleach, the sender, the appointer. Correct. It's attributed. This is shliach dvar aveira. So we have two cases. For Beis Hillel, this is Beis Hillel. That's the second case of Yeshlich Dvar Aveira. So if, in fact, Shlich Dvar Aveira is the rule rather than the exception, why does it have to repeat itself? So evidently we see clearly from this that Torah does repeat itself, that it's the exception to the rule rather than the rule. If it would be the rule, Torah would have said it once. And I draw from that throughout the Torah. But since the Torah has to repeat itself, firstly, in regard to Me'ilah, and secondly, in regard to Shlichas Yad, that tells me clearly that it's the exception rather than the rule. Therefore, you can't draw from that the principle of shlichus within the context of Dvar Aveira. Wait, that's the next question. So that's very good according to Beis Hillel, Beis Shammai, the mukvilai kro b'machshava k'maseh neilef minei. But according to Beis Shammai, that I'll call Dvar Pesha, we learned that the thought is the equivalent of the action, so and it has no relevance to shlich l'Dvar Aveira. So going to Beis Shammai, I only have one example of shlich l'Dvar Aveira. What is that example? Me'ilah. So let's draw from Me'ilah. Say yesh shlich l'Dvar Aveira. Okay, that's the first question. Of course, that's Mematzino. That's one of the 13 methodologies we interpret the Torah. Torah states a principle, we draw from that. If another situation is comparable, we draw from that. That means when the Torah repeats, definitely Melamdin. If two Melamdin, one's definitely Melamdin. The whole idea is what's the concept? Seemingly, if there's nothing superfluous in the Torah, two is enough to tell me that it's the exception. Otherwise, what does Torah repeat itself? That opinion holds that times when the Torah reiterates something. The repeating is not considered superfluous, of course, it's to reiterate the principle. But 3 times, definitely not. Twice, yes, 3 times, not. Definitely the Torah would not repeat it. And that's everybody agrees, Lamdin, a 3rd time. Yeah, so that's what we're saying. So we're saying, though, but according to Beis Shammai, we only have 1 time. It's only mentioned once. So why do we learn from that? So on that, the Gemara says, of course, we have another case. Mishum dehave mi'ilu tfichu mechiru shnei ksum bon ke'echad. Me'ilah is one case of shlich dvar aveira. Now we have tfichu mechira. Person steals a sheep or an ox, and then he slaughters it or sells it. So the halacha is he's chayv dal v'eg. He has to pay a penalty 3 or 4 times the value of the sheep or the ox. Dal v'eg. What about the thief steals the sheep, then he commissions a shochet to slaughter on his behalf? Does the thief, does he have the liability of dal v'hei because actually he didn't do the shechita, he didn't do the slaughtering. He delegated through a 3rd party, correct? Or let's say he delegates someone to sell it to a 3rd party, to negotiate on his behalf. Is that act of selling attributed to the thief? The answer is yes. There, so we see, we have another example, Dvar Aveira. So again, so what do we need 2 examples? Evidently, that confirms it's the exception rather than the rule. So now we have 3 cases. 3, and according to Beis Shammai, you have 2 cases. You have 2 cases, good. But how do I learn from Tficha Mechira? Tficha Mechira, so therefore, Shnei Ksum Bo Ke'echad. Chen Cho Shnei Ksum Bo Ke'echad Ein Melamdin. Hoda moran. So it says Mila hoda moran. Mila we already explained. We quoted the pasuk. We have chet mitruma that we apply shlichus even within the context of avera. Tficha mechir mai. How exactly do we learn from tvachu mechoro that you're able to commission an agent even within the context of avera? Omakro utvacho umechoro. If you slaughter it or you sell it. Now, whenever we speak of selling something, there's another party involved, right? Without another party, you can't sell it. Let's say a person steals it and then he's mafkir it. He disowns it. It's meaningless. You have to sell it. That means another person has to do an active acquisition. So you need another person involved for him to have the liability. Correct? I steal a sheep, then I sell the sheep. Could you sell a sheep without a third person? You need a third party. Other who are you selling it to? No, we're talking about Dalad. We're talking about paying the penalty 4 or 5 its value. Right? You only pay 4 or 5 if you sell it or if you steal it. Or you slaughter it. Right? So ma mechira yidei acher. Just as when you sell something you need a third party involved. Without it you can't. It's not considered you've transacted it. Af tvicha yidei acher. So therefore the slaughtering, even if it's done through a third party, the thief has the full liability of Dalad Veheg. No, it's not a logic. It's not a logic. It's a hekish. The Torah is equating tvicha to mechira. Just as mechira in its reality cannot be done unless you have a third party involved, tvicha also, even if you have a third party involved, not the thief himself doing the slaughtering, he has the same liability as if he slaughtered himself.
But who's selling here? I'm selling it.
No, you don't have to do both. One or the other. Torah says you do A or B.
I understand. Let's say I choose to sell it. I'm selling it. Somebody else is buying it. You need
Yeah.
third person to buy it.
So that means I need, even though you're involved, but still you need another person.
So here,
No, but that's the hekish. Emishivin ala hekish. It's a hekish. Right? The Torah is juxtaposing tvicha to mechira. Right? Just as B cannot, there are 2 parties involved. Tvicha, even if, although you can have one, even if you have 2 involved, another party besides the thief is liable.
but how do you know from this that you can appoint a shliach to sell it to a third party? So
Because if tvicha works, why shouldn't mechira work? Once we're established yesh shlich dvar avera regarding tvicha, right? So why shouldn't I be able to sell it through a third party, where I'm not involved in the transaction whatsoever, not even on one side of the transaction, right? It's established. We'll see in a moment. I was thinking because. Right, of course. That's poshut. I mean, that's understood. Now, so that's the first understanding. Rabbi Shmuel Tana, it was learned in the base measure of Rabbi Shmuel. It says, oh, could have said tvachu umecharo, right? And vav also means like oh, one or the other. What's the oh? The rabbis says shliach. That comes to tell me even an agent, right? It's interesting. I mean, because you could make a differentiation over here. I mentioned it's not so simple. By tvicha b'chir, is it a shlichustik halacha or it's a causality halacha? Normally, you say gromim mizokin's poter. If causality, you don't have liability in court. You can't be convicted in court on causality. B'dei shemayim. So let's say I appoint a person to do the shechita on my behalf. Let's say he should slaughter on Shabbos. Right? I mentioned to you. Let's say I'm appointing shliach. He should slaughter the animal on Shabbos. So do we say we divide it somehow? For tvicha shechita, we say shlichus. But what is the context of this agency? I said he should do it on Shabbos. So if you do it on Shabbos, Shabbos definitely shlich dvar avera. Right? The one who commissioned him, he's not liable for slaughtering on Shabbos. So maybe the whole act is not attributed. Not only if the shechita is not attributed to him, shechita is netilas neshama. It's not considered like he violated Shabbat. What do you mean? But I slaughtered it. Right? I mentioned Mishnah discusses this case. So they say in the Rambam that it's not really the classical shlichus. The Torah is saying that if you, through your instruction, the animal was slaughtered, you're chayiv. You're liable. For instance, so what would the halacha be? Well, let's say you have a cotton. A minor, we ain't shlichus l'cotton, correct? Let's say, what's the halacha? If a cotton is overseen and supervised with the shechita, shechita is valid. So let's say you appoint the cotton to slaughter the animal on Shabbos. To slaughter an animal in general. We say, shlichus l'cotton. Would the thief be liable for dal devei when the cotton does the shechita? Right? So if I remember correctly, I haven't seen it in many years, that according to Rambam, he's chayiv. But ain't shlichus l'cotton. So the says in the Rambam that it's not the classical shlichus. That even within context of causality, since the child slaughtered it through your directive, you're liable, as if he's your shliach. That's by Milo. That's by Mazik. Question is by Milo. By Me'ilo and by Dal Dvei, which we say these are the exceptions Shlich Dvar even if a child, right? Even if a child does it, you'll be liable. You see, by Shechita, I said a child because of, what's his name? Because a goy, it's not called the Maisa Shechita. Because it's not called Shechita. A non-Jew, it's not valid. According to it is valid. If he supervises, it's a valid Shechita. So Shechita was done due to your directive. If a non-Jew does it, it's not called Shechita. If he would just stun the animal and kill it, it's nothing. It means nothing. So I'm showing. So, because you see, according to the first opinion, it says, just as Mechira Zal Yidei Acher, Tficha Zal Yidei Acher. Doesn't say Shliach. It's through a third party. Right? When Friday Rabbi Kalatsky says, oh, the rabbis is a Shliach. Right? Wait, it comes out the big halachic difference. So O's superfluous. If we were able to learn from Mechira, why did it have to write O? The answer is because if I just have Tfach Ma Mechira, the Hekesh, I'd say even a child. Rabbi Shmuel says, no, O tells me the Rabbis is a Shliach. He has to be qualified to be Shliach. It's not causality. It was due to my directive. It was because he's my agent. So if he doesn't qualify to be an agent, such as a cotton, you will not have the liability of Dalvei. That would be a halachic difference if you're learning from Tficha is learned from Mechira, or you're learning from the O. Nobody. No one would have. No, for the Dal V'Hei. Regarding that, he's a mazik. As a thief, anyway, he has to reimburse him fully for the value of the animal. We're talking about the penalty. There's no penalty. Right? It's no worse than the animal dying. What happens if the animal dies? You pay for the animal. You don't pay Dal V'Hei. Because the Torah says that, because that's in Shlich Devar Aveira. No, it's in Shlich Devar Aveira. How could that shechita be attributed to me if it was done on Shabbos? The shlichus is not a valid appointmentship. He can't function that. His action he's doing now, what action he's doing? It's called Netilas Neshama. It doesn't work for either. If it's shlichus, I'm telling you, because it's not shlichus. He's not a shliach. It's called causality. It's because it was under his direction, it was done, that's enough to be liable. Although there's no shliach, a cotton, a minor can't be a shliach, yet you're liable. During the week, no, he's doing shchita, he does shchita. It's a valid shchita. But he can't be your agent. If he can't be your agent, how could it be attributed to the one who gave him the direction? The sender. So evidently, it's not the classical shlichus. But I'm saying, but if you learn according to Rabbi Shmuel, you learn from the word O. O the rabbis, it's a shaliach. He has to meet the criteria what a shliach is. If he's a minor, he's not qualified to be a shliach. Regardless how kosher the shechita is, but he's not representing me. I may be the cause of it, but he's not me. So his action cannot be attributed to the one who instructed him to do the shechita. Okay? Exactly. So, under normal circumstances, one is an action attributed to you, he has to be your shliach. The two exceptions, Me'ilah and Dal V'Hei, although he's not your shliach, it's purely causality, but since it came as a result of your directive, your appointmentship, that's enough to carry the liability. That's no yesh. Really ain't shlich dvar. To be a shliach, you cannot be. Yeah, but the way we're coming out, it's not even shlichus. You're right. His action is attributed to you, but not because he's you. Because how could he be me? He's a kotor. What? No. So I'm saying, according to Rabbi Shmuel, it is a shliach. But if you learn from Mechira, if you want to sell the animal to a goy, does it make a difference who you're selling it to, a Jew or a goy? Right? It doesn't make a difference. You transfer the animal. Ma Mechira al yedei acher, av shchita al yedei acher. Third party. If it's due to your involvement, that's enough to be liable. Halach, of course, halach is shchita. No, it's not tvicha. Tvicha means shchita. I mean, there's a discussion in two locations, in Meruba and in Ksubis. What about the shchita she'eina ruya? A shchita, let's say a person goes and Gemara speaks shachat b'Shabbos. A person slaughters on Shabbos, right? So the halacha is you're not permitted to eat it, but it's only rabbinical. But let's say you'd have a case of kochim. A person goes and slaughters kochim b'chutz, shchutei chutz. You know, it's not a valid shchita. He did an act of shchita, you're not permitted to eat it. That's called shchita she'eina ruya. A shchita that you cannot eat of the shchita, but he did a proper shchita. Is that called shchita? No, it's not. It is shchita. No. But it's a side issue. It's not because it's a problem's not with the shchita. It's because the object that was consecrated. That's why not. What's the law? What's the nafka? There's a question. If a person steals a consecrated animal from Hegdish, Reuven consecrates an animal, Shimon goes and steals the animal. Okay? If he's caught with the animal, does he have to be kefil? So it's machlokes, Reb Shimon and the Chachamim. Rabbanan say no. Why not? Because it says v'gunav beis ish. You steal it, you have to steal it from an ordinary person. The beis ish lo beis Hegdish. From Hegdish, not. But over here, there's a new principle. This is what we call Dovar Gorim L'Momen K'Momen Dami. What about he said Harei Olai? The one who consecrated the animal says, I obligate myself to bring an Ola. Right? What happens if the Ola now goes lost or dies? The one who obligated him initially has to consecrate another Ola. Correct? Yes? If he says this should be an Ola, whatever happens, the Ola dies, he's not able to bring it. Stolen, he has no obligation. But if he says, I accept upon myself the obligation to bring an Ola. So if something should happen to Ola A, he has to bring another Ola. Because the netter is upon himself. Somebody should steal the Ola that he consecrates. When he said Harei Alai. So what is the value of this Ola? Because if this Ola is not here, he has to bring another one. That's called Dovar Agorim L'Mama. Something which causes him to make another outlay of money, even though presently the animal that exists is consecrated. That's called the gun of beis ish. Since there is a financial loss to the one who made the netter, that it has to be replaced. So what is the value of the animal? You know, as we say, a penny saved is a penny earned. It has nothing with it's the reality. A penny earned, a penny saved is a penny earned. So the hegdish existing means the one who consecrates doesn't have to make another outlay of money. So the korban as it is worth money. It's equivalent of his money. So therefore, Reb Shimon says that's called v'guna beis ish. So now he goes and slaughters it. So if you hold shchita she'eina ruya shma shchita, that even though you're not able to eat it, it's called a shchita. Not only is it liable for kefil, to pay the penalty of kefil, he has to pay dal v'heg, although the animal cannot be eaten. Because a shchita, which even though you cannot eat it, as long as it's a proper shchita in the physical act, that's enough to bring about liability. It's also, the Gemara says also, it's a treifa. Right? Treifa means it has a defect, even although you can't eat it, but it's a valid shchita.
Logically, you're saying it's not hektish. The animal's not
According
to the one who said you have to pay over A, the animal is not hektish.
It is, even though it's hegdish, we treat it as if it's not hegdish regarding liability for the thief. That's the Gemara. We don't rule like Reb Shimon. We rule like the Chachamim. Right?
So that animal stays there. If he then replaced it because he didn't think he'd get it back.
What happened?
The first one that he was
He stole the animal.
stole the animal. He was,
And now he's caught with the stolen animal.
no, I'm saying the owner of the animal, the one who took upon himself to
Okay.
recover. Now he brings the second one because it was stolen and he
Okay.
waited 6 months.
And now you catch the thief with the animal?
Catch the thief with the
Still an Ola. First one's an Ola. Still an Ola. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So now we've come out, according to Beis Shammai, we have 2 psukim. Right? According to Beis Hillel, we have 3 psukim. We have Milah. We have Shlichus Yad. Right? And we have Tvicha Mechira. According to Beis Shammai, we have 2. Right? We have Milah and Dal Devei and Tvicha Mechira. Okay? So it's Hanich Leman Yomar. He's asked this question according to Beis Shammai. According to Beis Shammai, they have 2 examples of Shlich Dvar Aveira. Hanich Leman Yomar Shnei Ksum Bo Kechot Ein Melamdin. If the Torah repeats itself even once, that's sufficient. That's considered superfluous. So that confirms that what? That it's an exception to the rule. No, because I have 3 cases. Everybody agrees when you have 3, it's Ein Melamdin. That clearly means it's only according to Beis Shammai. According to Beis Shammai, I only have 2 examples of Shlich Dvar Aveira. So if you have an opinion of Ein Melamdin, it's fine. But if I have Melamdin, it's still not sufficient. Maybe the Torah is reiterating the point. So according to Beis Shammai, why don't we say Shlich Dvar Aveira? No. 3, no. Everybody agrees. 3. Definitely. That's why I explained to you. What is the rationale? The one who owns Melamdin by 2. Because that's called reiteration. Torah is reiterating it. A person, asks a question once. Asks a question again. He's asked 6. You've already asked the question 6 times. How many times do you have to ask the same question? Torah says we reiterate something once. 3rd time already, that's considered superfluous. So why does it repeat itself? The answer is not superfluous, because these are all exceptions. So you have to tell me each one of the exceptions. So the question is only going to Beis Shammai now. Okay? I see, Ernie sees the light. I see it. Okay. So Mar says, Goli Rachmana b'shchutei chutz. I have a 3rd case. According to Beis Hillel, this would be a 4th case. B'shchutei chutz. It says, Dam yichosh l'ishahu. Dam shafoch. Okay? It says, if a person takes an animal, consecrated and slaughters it outside of the Mishkan, or the Beis HaMikdash, the Torah says, Dam yichoshiv lo ish hahu. It says, Dam yichoshiv lo ish. It should be considered like he shed blood. That person. What's the that? Dam shafoch. What's the who? Hu v'lo shlucho. Right? We'll see in a moment. He and not. What happens if he points a shliach to go slaughter the animal outside the Beis HaMikdash? Do we say shliach dvar aveira? And the one who commissions him, the sender, is liable for karis. We say no. Right? Hu v'lo shlucho. 1 second. We're not, wait a second. So from there we say what? Ain't shliach dvar aveira. Ashkon gabi shchutei chutz. So we find shchutei chutz clearly. The Torah is saying ain't shliach dvar aveira. Correct? Ain't. B'chol haTorah kula, b'chol haTorah minolon. How do we know throughout the Torah we say ain't shliach dvar aveira? So evidently, clearly, the Gemara is not going. I mean, again, we had mentioned. Wait a minute. The Gemara says, why ain't shliach dvar aveira? Divrei Rav, divrei Talmud, divrei Misham. It's a logical concept. So all the Achronim say, or it's even Rishonim, that's initially what the Gemara started off. Now we're quoting Psukim. If I hold Shnei Ksum B'Kech Ein Melamdin, what is Torah saying? It's not based on the rationale any longer. So therefore, even though, and this is contrary to Tosas, Tosas says that if the Shliach is not aware he's doing the wrong thing, we say Ishliach Dvar Aveira. Right? If it's based on the principle, Divrei Rav, divrei Talmud, divrei Mishomim, because the one who the sender says, I never thought he'd carry it out. Now we mentioned this. So what about if the agent is not aware he's doing the wrong thing? So you can't tell me, I didn't think he'd carry it out. He's definitely didn't carry it out. Why shouldn't he carry it out? He thinks he's doing something that's permitted, right? Other Rishonim argue with this. Why? Because they say that was initially, but now we'll bring psukim. Once I have the psukim, it's not the logical concept any longer. There's exeris hakosov. Shlichus is only within a certain context, not within the other context. So regardless of what he believes or doesn't believe, the shlichus doesn't apply.